22 runners and riders from Peter O'Sullivan.
2 is Buckhouse, Tommy Carmody. 3, Cardinal Flower, John Frankham. 4, Cavalier Serventi, Tony Charlton. 7, Delius, Mr. Dermot Brown. 8, Destiny Bay, Hewell Davis. 9, Eleven, Trevor Wall. 11, Glasgow Central, Mr. Peter Morgan. 12, Golden Friend, Mr. Ted Walsh. 14, Lanier Ike, Mark Parrott. 15, Miss Love, Chris Grant. 19, Noon Gun, Ron Barry. 21, Sasha Song, Steve Knight. 22, Seskin Bridge, Frank Berry. 23, Selmira, Mr. Graham Rowe. 24, Street Angel, Niall Madden. 25, Sunley Bill, Steve Smith-Eccles. 26, Sutton Prince, Richard Linley. 27, Tarkogan's Choice, Peter Warner. 28, Uncle Scobie, Pat Leach. 30, Waving Diamonds, Mr. William Mullins. 31, Wealthy, Mr. Mark Lowe. And 34, Connaught River, Peter Scudamore.
Well, the Dickinson hopes here are firmly pinned upon Delius, who gave his first indication of really exceptional ability in the Panama Cigar Qualifier at Wetherby last month. It's Delius with a lead of a length and a half from Gambia, Beamwan, Victory Prize and Christmas Cottage as they run down towards the last, and it's Delius just being ridden hands and heels by Dermot Brown, maintaining a 2-length lead from Gambia and Beamwan, coming to the last, and it's Delius, still in his rider's hands, over it clear from Beamwan and Gambia and Christmas Cottage, but it's Delius striding away, lengthening his stride and winning like a really good horse. This really is a racehorse. Delius going away. Delius wins with his head in his chest. The unbeaten Delius, a 13-8 favourite to win the opener here, under the eyes now of Richard Pittman.
Thank you, Julian. Yes, and what a brilliant day to open Cheltenham on. The sun is shining. In fact, it was shining early this morning, and the horse is looking particularly well. I've never been a great fan of Delius's looks, but by golly, his engine is good. I always thought he was quite small, but in fact, when you stand into him, he's about 16.3, you know. He's a big horse, and he'll go on to good things over fences later. But as you say, Julian, he's been winning with his head in his chest. It remains to be seen what happens when he really has a hard race. Presumably, he'll still be up there today, trying to keep out of trouble, and I think that this horse is a good horse, and I'm sure when he comes to his biggest test, he will come through it. Well, the distinctive pom-pom on the hat there of Dermot Brown, currently leading the amateurs table with 29 winners. And these are the colours of Mr. John Renton. You've seen them with Lucky Eagle and also Ballydonna in the past. Now this horse threatens to be better than either of those put together. John Renton is a headmaster from a prep school at Ascot, and that indeed tells you this isn't just the sport of kings, the sport of headmasters as well. Delius there, trained by Michael Dickinson, the first of his 18 horsepower raid. There he is. So as Delius goes out, with the rest, we have a show betting for you.
Delius 13-8, Waving Diamonds 5-1. Seskin Bridge is 7s. Buckhouse, that opened at 12-1, is now 8-1, so has come in 4 points in quite a short time. Cardinal Flower 12-1. Golden Friend 14s. Connaught River 20-1. Street Angel and Uncle Scobie 25-1. Miss Love and Sunley Bills with Lena Aked 33-1. On 50-1, Glasgow Central, Sutton Prince, Destiny Bay and Cavalier Serventi, and it's 66-1 by these.
Cardinal Flower looking the pick of the paddock, but then he is a colt, as you can see, looking very colty there, number 3, ridden by John Frankham, and good to see John back in the saddle. He had a really nasty fall at Stratford-on-Avon on Thursday. I was standing at the last fence when he was buried there. He was underneath Cruise Missile's hind legs, and as he struggled to get up, he kicked John all over the place. Luckily, he's been working on his own elbow that was like a football with an ultrasonic machine, and here is the fruits of his labours. He's back here at Cheltenham. Cardinal Flower in the colours of Vicky Yeager, and certainly she looking as pretty as her horse. She was the pick of the paddock as well, I think. But this one you'll be seeing at the Lincoln Handicap. That's where he's heading for in 10 days' time with Edward Hyde on his back, but it's more serious business at the moment. We were able to see him earlier this morning when the mist was just lifting and the sun was coming out here at Cheltenham. He was just having a canter. He's come from Andy Scott's stables way up in Wupperton and just needed this bit of a pipe opener to clear his tubes. But Peter O'Sullivan was able to talk to the connections afterwards.
Andy Scott, you've come a long way with Cardinal Flower. How far is it for you from Alnwick?
It'll be 340 miles.
And I see you have him in the Lincoln with Edward Hyde riding him on the 26th, that is. Very unusual to have a horse like this running at the festival beforehand. What's your plan with him?
Well, I think he'll have enough time to get over the race, you know, the Cheltenham race. He's got 11 days and he enjoys work. He's very, very happy, the horse. I think he should run well here and run well in Lincoln.
You happy with the ground here?
What I've seen of it, I think it's good ground, and that's what he wants, good ground.
You could see him running well.
I could.
Taking quite a bit of beating?
I take a lot of beating, I think.
He's a 10-1 shot at the moment and going down to the start with that whole mass of fancied runners. This is the most exciting thing about Cheltenham. There's no sure thing at all. Though they do say the bigger the field, the bigger the certainty, but you can pick out a lot of these and fancy them. Well, Cardinal Flower was very impressive. He beat Ski's double at Doncaster and also beat Great Light on the same course. A very useful horse indeed. John Frankham quite confident. So this, the Waterford Crystal Supreme Novices Hurdle, has gone to the Irish or Irish-trained horses for the last 6 years. And prior to that, back in the 50s, Vincent O'Brien monopolised it, used to win it, in fact, both divisions. It was called the Gloucester Hurdle in those days. And looking back, you know, to 48, Vulgan won it then, and some good horses since. Lescargo won it in 68, and Bula in 70. He went on to win the Champion Hurdle, of course. So a whole host of horses for you to find here. Just a quick word about the one in the white colours there coming towards us. The grey there, this one, you can have a good look at it now, because Graham Rowe, who rides this one, I should think is just indulging in his own pleasures by coming here with this one, because hasn't really got any chance at all. Silmira, second in a selling hurdle at Stratford at the end of February, and as I say, can't really fancy it. Now the one in the shot there in the blue colours, number 23, 21 rather, Sasha's Song, they're the colours of Lord Vestey, and this one trained by Jeff King. He's one of 2 horses that Jeff has for Lord Vestey, and he came good at Wincanton in November. He's since been 2nd and 3rd, nice sort, probably go on to jump fences later. Steve Knight has the mount here, and as much as I'd like to see Jeff have a win at the festival meeting as a trainer, it's a very competitive race. I can see this one running well, but I think you just have to find a bit to win. Most of the horses looking at the first. In the cross belts going away, the white cross belts near the left of the picture, that's Lana Rye, number 14, right to the left of the picture going away. Lana Rye trained by Stan Mellor in Lambourne, and this one was formerly trained in Northern Ireland by Jeremy Maxwell, who is renowned for producing good young horses. He supplies the Dickinsons with a lot of them. And this horse, in fact, used to run in the colours of Lawrence McSwiggan, a well-known character in the north of Ireland, who certainly isn't averse to putting his few quid down when it was fancied. Well, anyway, they sold him to Stan Mellor, and since then he's run some superb races. But the thing about this horse, he must come late on the scene. The last is too soon. He wants to come halfway up the run-in, so that's quite a task for young Mark Perrett at the festival meeting here, but I'm sure he'll be up to it. Shot of Dermot Brown and Delius in the foreground there. The short price favourite, I thought he'd be a bit more, or the bookies would be more generous than that, but anyway, can't argue with them. And in the stars there, the green with the white stars, 34. Interesting to see the blinkers off this one, Connaught River. He's been a bit of a naughty boy. He won 3 races early in the season, and then he ran out twice on the flat, both on right-handed courses, had the blinkers on, and the aid of Niall Madden and Steve Smith-Eccles, and they got him round a couple of meetings. He ran particularly well last time when 3rd to Wallow Will. That was very good form indeed. Today he's got stable jockey Peter Schoonemore, just napping a little bit there, but he is a colt, so we'll forgive him that, and let's hope that his wayward ways are behind him. Coming towards us, Mark Lowe, young Mark Lowe. He was riding Wealthy. But Delius 13-8, favourite Waving Diamonds 5-1. Seskin Bridge 7-1, running in the colours of His Excellency the President of Ireland, and that is the first time these colours have been seen here at the National Hunt Festival. Buck House 8-1, Mouse Morris's runner Cardinal Flower 10s. That looks a good price, 10-1, 14-1 bar. Number 2 there, an interesting runner, Buck House, as I say, trained by Mouse Morris. I said to Mouse this morning when I saw him galloping on the course, he isn't very big, Mouse. He said, no, but the engine's right. And certainly his form tells us that's so. He's not been out of the first 2 in all 7 of his runs. There, the dark grey in the front of the picture, number 11. Now, he's sure to make the running or be up there, Glasgow Central. He loves to bowl along in front. He's trained by Bill Morgan, ridden by his son Peter. Cardinal Flower now 9s from 10-1. There is Cardinal Flower in the pink. But the grey there loves to bowl along in front, and certainly is quite useful. He's won 3 races this year, formerly trained by Ryan Price. Just going out of shot was Waving Diamonds in the famous Durkin colours. Meanwhile, Seskin Bridge goes out of point to 8-1 from 7s. And we're just looking for the blue cut. There he is. This is Waving Diamonds, and would have really preferred heavier ground. Certainly performed on a good surface last year at Fairyhouse, but his 2 wins recently have been on heavy ground, and he beat Boreen Prince at Thurles. That is very good form indeed. Buckhouse, 7s from 8, and riding number 30, there is Willie Mullins. Nice little thing, not in fact unlike Anna Glog's daughter, who used to run in the same colours, although slightly different colour. Most of those we've seen there, the colours of Sheikh Ali Abu Kamsin. Cardinal Flower now 8s from 9, so the Andy Scott cash hardening in on this one now. But just to the right of the picture, the black chevrons on the red colours. Sheikh Ali Abu Kamsin, who will be much in evidence, that's Sutton Prince. And Sutton Prince has been second no less than 5 times this season. But let's see how they bet.
Delius 13-8, Waving Diamonds 5-1, Buckhouse now 7-1, Seskin Bridge is 8, so is Cardinal Flower, Golden Friend 14-1, Connaught River 20-1, on 25-1 Street Angel and Uncle Scobie. Miss Love and Sunny Bills and Lena Aga 33-1, Cavalier Savente, Destiny Bay and Glasgow Central 50s, 66-1 bar.
Just at the back of the field, light green and the black chevron, Sunny Bills, formerly with Gavin Hunter, and a very useful stayer. Goes back to Gavin on Friday, but he's hoping to see him win today. Steve Smith-Eccles has that task. Looks if they're coming in, and the task now for Peter to read this race.
And the 22 runners being called in for the first race of the 1983 festival. Very much on his toes, Waving Diamonds. Went right down the tape, and he's bolted. Waving Diamonds has bolted in the foreground, but happily William Mullins has him under control. He formerly owned this horse, sold him quite recently to Tony Durkin. The very latest betting, Delius, the 13-8 favourite, Waving Diamonds, whom we're looking at there, the 5-1 second in, Buckhouse 7-1, Seskin Bridge 8-1, Cardinal Flower on the same mark, and 14-1 bar those 5. So the Irish with 3 of the first 5 in the betting in this race, which they won last year with Miller Hill, whom we'll later be seeing in the Champion Hurdle in 81, with Hartstown, who we'll be seeing this time in the Waterford Crystal Stayers race. They won it in 1980 with Slaney Idol, in 79 with Strandfield, 78 with Golden Signet, and 77 with Max Chariot. And now obviously the main home defender, a horse who was himself bred in Thurles, and that is the favourite Delius. They're all back now, and the starter asking them once again, these 22 runners, in the absence of Buck B, to form a line. White flag up, and Roders. And they're away, and Waving Diamonds again jumps off very smartly and leads them, or disputes the lead with Sutton Prince and Glasgow Central and Sunny Bills as they come to the first. At the first, Sunny Bills lands in the lead from Waving Diamonds. The favourites right over on the right of the picture, the dark colours, Delius. Glasgow Central's right up with them, followed by Silmara. Just in behind Silmara is Connaught River with Cathy's Song. Back marker at the moment is Cavalier Saventi. And it's Sunny Bills, who's taken a pretty strong hold from Sutton Prince and Glasgow Central. Glasgow Central, the grey, going on marginally now from Sunny Bills. Then another grey, Silmara. Then on the inside is Sutton Prince. Then Waving Diamonds and Destiny Bay and Cathy's Song. And Delius over on the far rail. And all safely over the first flight, swinging left-handed. Glasgow Central in the lead from Sunny Bills, little between these two. Then Silmara behind Silmara is Sutton Prince, and then comes Destiny Bay and Waving Diamonds, and then Sasha's Song. Behind Sasha's Song on the outside is Buck House, then Connaught River, Delius on the rail, then Tarkogan's Choice. Cavalier Serventi is the back marker. Running downhill, Sunday Bills on the inside of Glasgow Central. These two setting a very fast gallop as they come down towards the next flight, and this will be the third. Sunday Bills on the inside of Glasgow Central. They jump it almost together. Glasgow Central the slightly better jump. They're all safely over it. Cavalier Serventi didn't jump it too well though and lost a bit of ground. And it's Sunday Bills and Glasgow Central still from Silmara. Sutton Prince on the inside. On the outside is Destiny Bay. Then on the inside is Waving Diamonds being tracked by Delius, and then comes Golden Friend, and then also going strongly just in behind the leaders, Cardinal Flower, as they jump the fourth. Sunley Bills on the inside of Glasgow Central. Waving Diamonds, Sutton Prince. On the outside is Destiny Bay, then Silmara, then Golden Friend, then Delius. Just in behind Delius is Sasha's Song, and then Cardinal Flower. Buckhouse towards the outside. Tarkogan's Prince making ground at the fifth of the 8 flights. Sunley Bills landed in the lead there from still in second. Glasgow Central, Waving Diamonds third, Destiny Bay 4, 5 Golden Friend, 6 and 7 Delius and Buckhouse. Then just in behind them comes Seskin Bridge in the presidential colours, making quite significant progress. In behind them Cardinal Flower, John Frankham running down now towards the third last flight, and it's Sunley Bills from Glasgow Central, Waving Diamonds, Destiny Bay, Delius coming there strongly on the stand side. Seskin Bridge improving with Buckhouse also at the third last now. Sunley Bills lands in the lead from Delius on the inside, then Golden Friend, and it's Delius on the inside of Golden Friend. Sunley Bills just in behind them, Buckhouse and Glasgow Central and Waving Diamonds and Seskin Bridge still making ground. This is the second last now. Delius on the inside, Sunley Bills, a mistake there by Golden Friend. Seskin Bridge is still making progress. Buckhouse is very much in contention, rounding the final flight now, and it's Sunley Bills from Buckhouse and the favourite Delius as they come down to the final flight, and Buckhouse for Ireland takes a marginal advantage. Buckhouse with his white face now showing in the lead at the final flight from Sunley Bills and Delius and Golden Friend. Buckhouse lands in the lead, and it's Buckhouse from Golden Friend and Sunley Bills and Delius as they race into the closing stages. It's Buckhouse from Golden Friend. It looks like another for Ireland in the Waterford Crystal Supreme Novices Hurdle as Buckhouse strides up towards the line to win it from Golden Friend, and at the line Buckhouse is the winner. Golden Friend is second, and third was Sunley Bills, fourth Delius, and behind them came Seskin Bridge and Glasgow Central, and behind him Connaught River, and then Waving Diamonds, and looking right back to the back markers. Ellerwan in fact finished last, only just shaded at the line by Cavalier Serventi, and so the result of the Waterford Crystal Supreme Novices Hurdle. First, number 2, Buckhouse, owned by Mrs. Seamus Purcell, trained by Mouse Morris in Ireland and written by Tommy Carmody. Second was number 12, Golden Friend, owned by Mrs. W. Johnson, trained by Homer Scott and written by Mr. Ted Walsh. And third was number 25, the long-time leader Sunley Bills, owned by Bernard Sunley and Sons Limited, trained by Nick Gaisley and written by Steve Smith-Eccles. Fourth was the favourite, number 7, Delius. So number 7 in a row for Ireland in this Waterford Crystal Supreme Novices Hurdle, the opener of the 1983 festival. Here is Buckhouse, and here's how he won it as we review it with Richard Pittman.
And it had been a fair gallop after the initial slow stage going to the first. Coming round the last bend, you can see Sunley Bills still in front. He'd been there right from the outset. Buckhouse is with him. This horse I said that wasn't very big, but Mouse said his engine was big enough, and certainly it was. There's Delius on the rails with the pom-pom on his hat. He'd had every chance but came under strong pressure, and Golden Friend looks to be the danger now, looming up in the blue colours on the outside. You can see that Delius is really having nothing to offer now, slightly disappointing, but this little Buckhouse, who's not been out of the first 2 all season in his 8 runs, powering up the hill. Tommy Carmody making a triumphant return to Cheltenham, of course, where he rode so many winners when riding for the Dickinsons, and there's going to be no danger from here on in. So Irish take first and second place here. Well, 7 in a row, as Peter told you. They're certainly making this race their own.
Yes, what an amazing sequence. Sustained by this remarkably consistent game little fella by Royal Buck out of Slave D by Arctic Slave, the 8-to-1 winner of the opener. Second foal of his dam, who herself never actually saw a race course.
2 lengths and 1.5 lengths.
And the distance is 2 lengths and 1.5 lengths. He hasn't been out of the first 2 in his last 7 outings. He's going to make Ballinacarra a very popular fancy for Ireland tomorrow, having been beaten by him in the Red Mills Trial Hurdle at Goran Park in February. A great comeback for Tommy Carmody. For some while, the Dickinson stable jockey.
Well, we have the starting prices for the first race.
So one of those
at
rare reverses for the Michael Dickinson stable at this supreme festival where races are so hard to win.
33-1. Number 7, Delius, was the 6-4 favourite.
Mouse Morris, the successful trainer, of course, a very successful rider in his time, both amateur and professional. And the starting prices as follows.
First number 2, Buckhouse, 8-1. Second number 12, Golden Friend, 15-1. And third number 25, Sunday Bills, 33-1. First Buckhouse, 8-1. Second Golden Friend, 15-1. And third Sunday Bills, 33-1. The jackpot number was 102.
Quite a severe reverse for the punters in the opener. Delius served up very, very hot indeed as the 6-4 favourite. Over 40 runners at the meeting. The Irish, although their hopes had a setback earlier this morning when, unhappily, it was found last evening, in fact, that Master Donovan, one of this afternoon's principal hopes for the visitors, was lame. He was poulticed last night, poulticed again this morning, seen by the blacksmith, and eventually, after much heart searching by Eddie O'Grady, he decided that although the horse was walking sound, in fairness to him, it would be better to withdraw him from this afternoon's test later in the day. There's Mouse Morris. Just hatless there.